control just a little bit of his champion pool, then it really does go a long way attacking Dignitas. Meanwhile, Dignitas, they have so many threats to choose from here. Looks like they'll probably go with the very strong champions, just individual champions that are very strong right now, or what's been successful in the past.
We haven't seen Skara pick up Kale for a while. It wasn't his best of champions in the pool back in the spring or summer. He kind of shied away from it, as did Reginald after he tried to play it for one time. So
that's an interesting point there. The Kale, recent surge in popularity, definitely something that Skara does play. So it could be a backup to something like the Gragas, which is always going to get banned out.
It will always get banned out. And it does. That first priority pick into Annie is going to be something that Kiwi Kid wants. And he still likes to be aggressive on his champions. He was a top laner, so this kind of fits into the role.
I mean, having the Annie on your team is always a great, reliable initiate. We saw it in the last game. That was one of the team fights where CLG won, even when they were coming from the side there.
Right.
Afro flashing in, Tibbers.
Mistiming a flash is what made that count.
If you're not aware of when her flash cooldown is, then it's a very scary thing. So it's also a very strong bottom lane, too. Because we saw, even though they got pushed in early, they were able to chain stuns with the Annie and get kills later, 2 versus 2, even with getting shoved in early.
So is that to say that Cutie Pie might be grabbing up Jinx if it stays open? It's just kind of a taster's choice combo everybody's doing.
I really like that combo, especially on this patch.
Absolutely. Odd one, grab Challenger on Elise back in spring. So it was just spring or start of summer, but he did grab it, fell in and out, but going to pick that up. He loves Elise, and it really allows him to be aggressive. We know Odd one back in the day from Maokai, Chio, a little bit of utility, but it's all about aggression now.
It's interesting how with so much focus on mid lanes here, and actually top lanes, all mid lane and top lane bans, it does open up those prized junglers that are often not available for these guys. So Odd one gets his first choice, goes back with that Elise, similar to pretty much everybody else, really liking that early game aggression. Meanwhile, one of the only champions that I put up there with Elise in terms of the early ganking power is Lee Sin. However, this is a Dignitas team that has Cruiser the Bruiser on it, who is known, that's basically, Cruiser is interchangeable with Lee Sin top. Like, that was what made him really famous.
See, that leaves, which means that
could be either.
Could be either coming into that. Wild Turtle looks to put his 80 carry on the board, possibly, just hovering. I don't think they're going to give it to Cutie Pie, though. They may actually take the Jinx. That would be a great pickup. Xpecial already has his support, and that bottom lane is obviously something that can fight against the Annie, whatever have you.
Lucian, Annie.
Oh, Lucian, yeah.
Very, very strong as well. It's the classic kind of, there's 3 main supports and 3 main AD carries down there kind of right now. It's the Annie, the Thresh, and the Leona. Any one of those comboed with the Jinx or the Lucian, and then sometimes Sivir, who's fallen off maybe a little bit step below, and then sometimes Draven, I guess. Draven also pretty popular, very snowbally champion.
So Team SoloMid went pretty hard on the 2v1 tower pushing lanes. Are they kind of formulating that team once again? Can you see that out of Champions Select yet?
The main thing that I see pushing power-wise is whenever you have Elise jungle, I love it when not only do they gank lanes, but they also pressure turrets even if you don't get your successful gank off. Elise is a ranged champion. There are very few ranged champions that can come from the jungle. If you can bring a ranged jungler to the mid lane, you can easily shove down a turret because the other mid laner is going to be stuck there. There's not a lot of counterplay to that. Bringing their own jungler is not going to help that much because usually they won't be ranged and they can't help you.
And 2 of the new faces, well, I guess not a new face on Trundle, but a resurgent face, and the new face of Yasuo being picked up last 2. So it falls to the 5th, but they still wanted Yasuo.
So it looks like here they're going to go for either Trundle Pillars, which you have to land on someone to get the little displacement, or the kickback from Lee Sin for that displacement to execute the Yasuo ultimate. Both of those are very good options. And I also like that Dignitas waited until the last pick to get that Yasuo because they don't want to get counterpicked. We've already seen Voyboy come up with a really nice one. When Yasuo was picked early, he goes to Kali. LeBlanc is someone who you actually can block the Qs that are coming out for her. So if you can win wall that, you'll avoid getting silenced and have a much better chance.
Looks like we have a gentleman's agreement in the Warwick Challenge, so it could be called here, coming into the split for this spring. You got to play it at least once. This is Dyrus' turn. He's going to pick Warwick into the top lane. That's going to be versus Trundle, and usually Trundle we see being able to take out a lot of the tanky ones. Can he handle a Warwick?
That's why I really like Warwick against this, because Warwick tanks through sustain. He's all about health regen from the Q and from the lifesteal from his auto attacks. So Warwick, going to be a little bit easier for him to go up against Trundle. He can't just straight steal a whole bunch of his health and all of the resistances there. So interesting little last pick there for TSM. And it also does combo really well because there's such a single target focused composition here with LeBlanc already. They can really rip through a single person. After they get that man advantage, then they'll try and get the objectives using that power play.
We'll see if he's trying to tag out the supports all the time. You know, LeBlanc always trying to just DFG the quickest one next to him. We'll see if Bjergsen can get it done. As the teams prepare to storm to the Rift, let's take a look at who you think is going to be victorious in this match. According to LOLesports.com, 90% of you think TSM is going to win this matchup.
It's one of the biggest, heaviest swings that we've seen in the vote right there. Classic.
I think everybody got their phones out and were voting in the studio.
All the audience votes. So the drawback, though, since you are a single target focused composition there for TSM, is that you're a single target focused composition, and when team fights come down, you're going to have answers for multiple threats here, because Yasuo, he's going to be able to ultimate not only one person to keep that knock-up going, but also has a 400 radius, or around 400, where it can knock up other people that are there as well. If they're all get Lee Sin kicked, and there's a bunch of people in the air, he can keep multiple people there.
TSM definitely has a composition that allows them to be aggressive and keep being hungry. We're going to see a lot of rotation and roaming from Bjergsen here on the mid lane. We'll see if Skara can keep him at bay and really under wraps. Again, a gold lead for TSM.
All right, so deep utility paying off early. Looks like Special has gone deep utility, getting the extra gold plus the biscuits, and not a Doran start.
No.
Just the flat health for Crystal. So maybe rushing the Sightstone to get that early vision. That would be an interesting plan because they do have a lot of assassination potential. Their jungler is a very roam-heavy jungler in Elise, and then their mid laner is always looking to roam. If Bjergsen can get ahead in the mid lane and then roam either top or bottom to get some assassination plays.
So thinking of what Bjergsen can do this game, remember he's saying he is somewhat the shot caller now, but as it gets into a fight, you kind of hear the sounds of the game you saw when Cloud9 was winning last game. Everybody kind of puts their own 2 cents in during a fight, during whatever, take a tower. But there's always that one guy, and with Bjergsen filling Reginald shoes, see how we can do here in mid lane with LeBlanc this time. He always plays champions that he can turn the game around on.
He can definitely pick someone off and make single plays by himself around the map. And something that I also like to see when we do have mid lane assassins like this that benefit greatly from roaming is an early sweeper upgrade from the mid lane, not just from something like the jungle. So if Bjergsen, then the time you want to get those is a couple minutes or a little bit before that level 9 so that you can get the upgraded sweeper. Because the first one,
just hit it.
Cooldown's pretty long there still.
Whoa!
Free flash? Yeah, it's pretty much free. They don't have to burn anything there, and they're also going to steal this blue buff. So nice start there for TSM.
Crumbs is going to be hurting on this one. Odd one level 2. We'll see if he goes in and back out of his jungle. We saw Zuna somewhat doing this on his first game. It worked quite effectively for XDG. Crumbs, we got to remember, is the guy that keeps the timers for Dignitas. He keeps those flashes pretty much for all the lanes. And he's the one we call the kind of human abacus. If we can keep it down, we'll see if those timers play true for Dignitas as they start off in the early game. Easy trades to the buffs, as we've seen for the past few. It seems like there were the line of scrimmage, but now everybody's back to stealing and taking buffs.
So, yeah, they do trade, but it is going to be Crumbs being maybe one step a little bit behind the odd one. He's back by maybe 15 seconds or something because it was TSM who initiated it. And the other thing is both solo laners going with the classic play where they take a jungle camp before going to the lane, since both of these duos have decided not to hard push it and they're just last hitting, trying to get a large creep wave before they run into turret.
Crumbs seems to be faring all right.
And Dyrus on his back. He killed double golems and then back to Fountain, bought a real ward there. So he's just placed a ward looking for the 3v1 tower dive that would come from behind him. But Crumbs is just going to run into the lane. Since the Odd One's already there pushing down turret, they want to try and catch up on turret damage. Immediately just go for it.
Yeah, we saw Dominate play this one differently, but Crumbs reading the 3 push. And it looks like he is going to be doing the same thing in the bottom. So the Odd One and Crumbs kind of leveled out here. And the turrets are just going to keep these teams at even here as we approach 4 minutes into the game. But this is TSM. They've done it. They've shied away from taking turrets, but they're back to doing it again. The under 5 minute first turret. Skara very low, and whoa, they actually go toe-to-toe. Bjergsen with the first blood.
So Skara was probably expecting Bjergsen to back off in the face of all that aggression and use some time retreating, but Bjergsen stands his ground there. Level 3, and was able to take him out with the combo. A little bit of an overestimation there from Skara on the early Yasuo power. Bjergsen doing work already.
That silence, man, it'll catch you off guard.
Whoa, the Q right through the tower instead of...
Good grab there. Special's very low, though. He's not going to be able to trade any turret damage onto this. They get Crumbs. That double buff almost gets transferred over nicely to TSM, but looks like three now at 4 minutes have to be taken to guard that top turret.
That first blood for Bjergsen is really not great news for Dignitas, by the way, because he's going to be able to get that early advantage in the mid lane, which means he can start roaming and make that advantage from mid lane translate into advantages on the rest of the map. All the other lanes are going to have to worry about his roaming now, so they're going to have to start warding up all the different paths that he can take down to, say, bottom lane, where he could pull out a execution on a squishy target.
And you got to say what a great choice in Bjergsen that was for Team SoloMid. Usually you kind of have to train a player into that phase of aggression, into that phase of, as you were saying, Reginald says, go for it. But they got a real click with Bjergsen right from the beginning.
You can see the confidence right there. He did not hesitate, stood his ground, able to turn it right back on Skara, got the chain proc, held him in place and killed.
Hopefully then the calls will follow as they start to make the strategies. But we're not even that far into the game yet. That first blood very early. The first 2 turrets, sub 5 minutes, and that's where you kind of see it slow down. Everybody has the idea for that far, but now they figure out what to do. Is the next objective from a kill, or are we going to be able to just simply push a turret?
Looks like since Bjergsen's got a huge wave pushing here, shoved Skara into that turret, and they're going to leave the duo lane up there, sort of freezing that lane. So when you do that, I'd rather send the support to go ward up the jungle entrances since you don't have a turret to guard you, and leave the AD to CS by himself. The only thing that you do lose when you do that is experience on your support, and he gets a little bit further behind in levels.
Just got to be careful when you match up in the 6-6 for the duo lane. All the ultimates start coming out. We're a little ways from that right now. Odd One still clearing up the jungle. We actually have not seen too much presence from him yet. He's 5, Crumbs is 4. So they actually may be able to activate something with Dragon a little bit sooner here if they keep the flow going.
Yeah, a lot of wards in the bottom side means that both teams are going to send their junglers over to the bottom here now. And they'll be tipped off to the action. So we'll have to see if the aggression actually does come out, because everybody's got vision, and the sweepers, it's so early for them, not even approaching close to those level 9s.
Right.
So only Xpecial has switched his out. Meanwhile, by the way, taking a look at the runes here for Bjergsen, he runs the hybrid penetration for LeBlanc early, which definitely made a huge difference. Those early level engages, you get off a lot of auto attacks, not just spells. So having hybrid instead of just pure magic penetration, really helping Bjergsen out in that all-in from Skara.
Bjergsen going for the deep roam. He uses W to get over the wall, however, so he's kind of walking this one out until he has what he needs back. He throws out the chain and misses, and the engagement goes 1-for-1 everywhere in this 3-for-3. It's going to be Xpecial going down first. Cutie Pie in a bad spot. Crumbs is there with Kiwi Kid. Tries to throw out the flames, but it cannot, or rather does not hit. Turtle just dodging the Sonic Wave, so the Resonating Strike will not be there. The Zap just to the outside, it does hit. Bjergsen looking for the next chain.
Coming in.
Got a good amount of mana. Oh my god, he safeguards right from the hit of the W damage. And it looks like Skara will pursue here with Crumbs forcing the flash on Bjergsen.
Timely arrival of Skara there enables Crumbs to get out of it and makes Bjergsen burn his flash to leave, because Kiwi Kid had his stun charge and was ready to cut off the exit there. But the dive went a little bit sour for TSM. Not quite what they exactly wanted because a little bit of miscommunication, maybe non-focused damage there. Going down on 2 different targets, and it took a little bit while to burst.
Super spread out fight. We'll have to see if that chaos can be cleaned up a little bit. As Dyrus taking some damage in the top lane, but these guys are
that
same
CS
instance
right
on
there.
mana, so they're not too bad. Yeah, 55 to 25. That's called the difference.
Those are definitely different numbers. One of them's substantially larger than the other. I wasn't paying attention to the top lane, by the way. I'm not quite sure if the junglers had anything to do with that because there was so much going down bottom. But the 2v1 pushes, I guess it just looks like Trumbo was able to handle the 2v1 a little bit easier and get more CS.
Absolutely. You hear the players saying, you know, they make these lanes thinking the composition will win a little bit. Maybe sometimes trade the lane back so they know they have that completely in their favor. You know, you go 2v1, which they really weren't in this game for too long, but you get that guy down a few levels and you match him up against the guy who did well in his solo lane, and good luck to that guy.
Right, so one of the drawbacks to Warwick is that he has absolutely abysmal wave clear. It's pretty much all single targets, auto attacks in that queue. Very, very much prone to getting shoved into his turret, so had a hard time coming back from that one, I think.
All right, just waiting on Bjergsen at a quick graphic issue, get a client restart. He will be back into the game. He's just flying everywhere on LeBlanc. Couldn't handle it.
Too much movement?
Too much movement. We did say he was going to be the one that has to create action for the team this game, right? Looking at Dyrus on Warwick, that's going to take a little bit of time to beef up, so Bjergsen really has to make moves in this early part of the game.
Well, he's doing a good job. You know, he's got both the kills, 2 kills on him, and he's probably going to be going for an early DFG. Early DFG will enable him to be confident that his target, even if he doesn't focus with the rest of his team and they don't focus their damage on a single person, he should be able to take them out by themselves by amplifying his own damage.
And the Odd One's been doing quite well. Like we said, it wasn't too much for the top of him. It was just really Trundle beating up on Dyrus right now on Warwick. But for the Odd One, they got their invade on the blue, kind of slowed down Crumbs a little bit. And you think he's still a level over Crumbs. We are going to get back into the match right now. And he is, no, they're both 6. So it looks like Crumbs has caught up, but he had to spend some time in lane, more than Odd One has.
Yeah, the kill for Crumbs definitely helped him out, too, on that the tower dive that was a little bit uncoordinated. But we'll return to the sort of unsymmetrical one turret down for each team, where the top turret here for TSM is a little bit less of an advantage because there's no dragon up here. Dragon down on the bottom side affords Dignitas a little bit more opportunity to get ward control. And since they're only down a little bit of gold, you know, it's not that big a deal for them to team fight. Oh, Kiwi Kid in position for Bjergsen to burst, but he gets the stun off.
Yeah, it's a good point. You walk around with your stun if you're in the jungle, because that would have quickly been Kiwi Kid going down. And that Bjergsen is, as we said, making the moves he needs to. So quickly saved there and thwarted out on some damage. Back to the mid lane. 8-7 here, so Skara has got some work to do. He's not really in a carry position for Dignitas, where he usually needs to be.
And Dignitas did what I was talking about. They're warding up the paths for Bjergsen to roam. They put a pink ward inside their jungle on that back of the dragon area. And now, with TSM starting up dragon, it's going to be up to Crumbs to steal it.
Oh, wow, he went in really early on that one. Great timing by the Odd One. He does not let that one slip by, and it looks like they get to Cocoon onto Kiwi Kid. This should be an easy pickup. He gets around the 2-person stun. Bjergsen to finish this one off with a quick QW combination.
So the drawback of Lee Sin landing the Q so early is that everyone in this game pretty much aware of the time that you have to follow up that Q. As the time runs down, they know that you're either going to come in right at the last second, or you're just going to wait it out and not come in at all. They were ready for this one as soon as Crumbs did come in, got bursted down. He was not going to be able to escape that. And it was just that the dragon was so high health, he didn't have really good chance at stealing that one away because Elise with the execute.
So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say this has been Cruiser Bruiser and just Dyrus going head-to-head, because all the focus has been on the bottom side of the map throughout this game, whether it's hitting mid a little bit, but Bjergsen is the one doing the roaming. Like I just pointed out, Skara's going to need to be able to carry. We'll be a big Cruiser Bruiser, but they're kind of going to be able to take him out as they kite away, because that's the kind of team they have.
They got the pink ward down before Q's able to land. But so here's exactly what TSM are doing. Because they've got this advantage on bottom lane, take turret roam up to the mid and press their advantage on the weak defense here. 2 melees, not much that they can do. So a really good map movement from TSM. Not only are they ahead in kills, but they're also grabbing the outer turrets.
Cruiser gets locked up. Very nice stacking on the crowd control, one after the other. Cruiser could be going down here. He's actually going, taking out Dyrus in the instance. Bjergsen says, wait, okay now.
And man, is Cruiser a beast right now. I'd say if Dignitas fans are going to hang their hope on somebody, it's on Cruiser. Even though Cruiser's not got kills, he has a really good CS lead. And we just saw right there how tanky Trundle can get when he does use his ulti to steal all those stats.
Bjergsen now starting to outfarm, and he's going to split push LeBlanc now. Not really his technique, but you're going to go ahead and just get this lane pressured out.
So something that a lot of LeBlancs do nowadays is max the W instead of the Q so that you can handle minion waves. I'm pretty sure pretty much everybody's jumped on that hype train now because it's so hard for her to get CS otherwise since she is pretty much all single target besides that. Maxing that one out early does help tremendously, and that's why Bjergsen is able to rack up so much CS as LeBlanc.
So confident in their movements. You can just see him blowing the ulti, blowing his W. They know they're farming, so that means they are in safe mode right now. TSM is not going to be engaging. They now put Dyrus down to the bottom lane to get that pressure in. Dragon's going to have a little bit more help here from TSM now on that.
Yeah, he's struggling clearing those waves. It's always funny to watch a Warwick try and deal with even just minions.
Is it? That's cruel.
It's funny to me. He's working hard. Pushing minions.
Pushing minions. 5-1 is the score. A 3,000 gold lead in favor of Team SoloMid right now. They were able to get that first turret with an answer from Dignitas as we recap a little bit of the early game, but then it was Bjergsen really going strong. Remember, they blew Crumbs' flash in the jungle, which isn't huge for Lee Sin, but definitely slowed him down a little bit. Couldn't go as dangerous in some of the engagements.
And with the early success of TSM, it's transformed this late game into an opportunity for them to use that Warwick teleport. They can have him split pushing for days down bottom, and he can join the rest of the team as soon as he comes in, at least with half a screen distance. A flash Warwick ultimate is a guaranteed engage. They're going to catch somebody even if Dig try and run away. And obviously we've seen that Bjergsen can follow that up with plenty of damage to kill the target because he's finished his DFG.
Yeah, I was just about to point that out. Ready and raring to take somebody out at 4-0-1. He's even got his sword boots finished out here.
Some double lift-esque split pushing Jinx here. No further wards for Wild Turtle, so very, very close right there. And he does back off because there's no more deep vision for him.
A crushing last auto attack from Bjergsen. Drops the mid turret. We're coming up on 15 minutes in the game, and TSM has a pretty good hold of the driver's seat right now. And oh, wow. Bjergsen, you can see the vision. They're even trying to take things. And Bjergsen knows he can't be fought one-on-one right now. He's too slippery.
It's definitely the next step for TSM. Because of the Warwick that I talked about, they have the global advantage where they can use that teleport, and they have the lead. So getting vision inside the jungle affords them the opportunity to do that split push, and it also doubles as positions where Bjergsen can pick people off. So that's pretty much everything they're looking for, and that's why they've upgraded 2 now sweeping lenses. It's the jungler and the support, which are classic. I would also really like to see one on Bjergsen, just so, since he's roaming around so much, he could set up his own little fog of war patches where he can pull off those assassinations.
So when does it come time for, it's still pretty early at 15, but for Dignitas to put that composition together? There's one chain, and that's going to be enough.
All right, there's that patch of Fog of War I was talking about. Bjergsen doesn't have to sweeping lens because there's no wards there for Dig, and he does find Skara unawares, able to attack from the shadows.
So this is, the lanes are somewhat pushed now for Dig, as I was saying. When did they break laning phase here and put their fight team together, that Trundle, that Yasuo, and the Crumbs, or the Lee Sin combo?
Yeah, it does seem like they're kind of scrambling here just to gain some sort of control.
Right.
Being said, we just talked about the vision game. What they need to do is put it, oh no!
Found Tibbers. Found it.
Yay!
That was a movement of the mouse mechanics, I believe. He tapped over the wall and didn't swing the mouse enough to Bjergsen. Bjergsen also with quick fingers, so he was getting out of that one anyways. We're going to wait back on that flash. 5 minutes down, so we'll see about 21 minutes before Dignitas can really safely engage. That's what we've been talking about all day, is the anti-engagements. We saw it last game from Aframu and CLG. Bjergsen with 3 in front of him, but Xpecial coming up on the wing with Wild Turtle. The odd one as well. It's a party with everybody there from TSM. Dignitas is going to start falling like flies. Cutie Pie is the first one. Skara with a sliver of health, and the zap just misses on the backside. Odd one, they're all looking for it. There's the chain. Another one comes out, and a double kill for Bjergsen coming in. 7-0-1, and they keep picking off Dignitas.
3 chains there for Bjergsen, able to keep Dignitas in range.
Another chain!
4 chains!
Oh, they're going to lock it. There's the hook. A 5th chain to come in. Where's he pulling them from?
I don't know. Kiwi Kid gets zapped.
Oh, man.
So they missed their opportunity there for Dignitas. They went for the pick. It was a good idea. Try and grab a kill and make a move early in the mid lane to get an advantage. But they weren't able to actually land it onto Bjergsen. And then they were made to pay for their extension up into the middle of the map. So this is just the wall hop here, and the ward to grab vision so he can make sure he lands this chain. Even if Cruiser had dodged that first chain, it would have hit Crumb. So very high percentage shot right there. This is on the zap. It does indeed land onto Kiwi Kid.
The scary part for Dignitas here is all of TSM is getting a piece of these fights. It's not just Bjergsen getting fed. Yes, well, he's 8-0-1, but the assists, I mean, are being picked up. Everybody's getting kill participation.
Everybody but Dyrus.
He's off doing his own thing. He's in the bottom
Like
lane.
I said, he's having so much trouble pushing those waves in. Now he's got Sunfire, though, so at least they'll slowly burn down around his feet.
Because he's not in the mid lane.
Oh, wow, Bjergsen.
I looked at you and looked back, and I didn't see anything.
So, again, the Fog of War patches that I was talking about, I wanted Bjergsen to create for himself. He hasn't even had to have a sweeper because Dignitas have been struggling to get vision back this entire game. Here comes the teleport. I guess they're just going to go for this Baron, and there's not much that Dig can do because they've got 2 people down bottom. TSM just making the moves all over the map here.
Wow.
What are they saying?
I
can't even hear what they're saying.
The chant coming out for TSM. We'll see 11-1 is the score. 33,000 gold to 24,000. 4-1 as the Baron gets picked up. Dyrus using teleport on that, but Team SoloMid has this completely in their hands. They're just figuring out what to do next. Dignitas cannot stop much of it.
It does look like once they got behind early, they kind of they were kind of just scrambling and just reaching for straws, not quite sure what to do. It's so hard to grab the vision back on your own side of the map, but they were not able to do it, and then TSM continually capitalized on their increased map control with very good movements across the lane.
Oh, what a chopper! As he puts it in, he predicts the movement, and it looks like Cruiser is able to get out. By this time, inhibitor turret's going down. We're going to see possibly the first one. They try to get the Yasuo ult in. Skara goes very hard for his team. They follow Skara's call, and they are going to try to do the damage. Kiwi Kid walks it in with Timbers. Great AoE damage coming into the fight right now. Odd one is everybody scrambling to focus in this fight. They're finally able to turn it on. They get the focus they want. All eyes onto Cutie Pie. Are the last attacks there. Beautiful 3-man stun by Kiwi Kid there, but it's not enough to save Cutie Pie.
And no Burger King for that action.
No.
It was a very good move by Dig. They were desperate at this time. They had to make something happen. And so they take the opportunity of the extra man play here, the power play, try and make it work. Scar gets off 2 knockups, but it's still not enough.
They are going to be able to grab the first inhibitor of the game. 20 minutes. Just cresting 21 minutes. And Bjergsen's there like, hey, I'm here
guys,
to party.
I made it.
Where are you going?
All right, perfect opportunity. Yeah, you're right about that chopper because he was going to walk right over it. And then Dyrus does join the fight. He's going to get some kill participation here because Skara charges up his Q. As soon as Skara charges up his own knockup, he can go in on it with his ultimate. But
that happened just now.
We already saw that stuff, so it's cool, guys.
We know what that consisted of. You look now, 4 trinkets still. Yeah, they need to ward their own jungle, but they have to clear these wards that's giving Bjergsen these kills. You'd think you'd see more sweepers on Dignitas' side right now.
Well, they need everything. They're like, okay, we need ward clearing power, but we also need vision. So Bjergsen's on the hunt.
Oh, that was pretty nice.
Good juke. Good
Dodge
juke.
on the chain. I like it. Scar keeping himself alive, but that was a missed spell and another one, and he's at half health, so it's still not good condition.
Nope. Bad, very bad condition.
Huzzah! Didn't even need Deathfire Grasp on that. We're going to go ahead and take the turret down, the second inhibitor to go down now, and TSM is completely controlling this game. The thing that has gotten so much better, really for all teams in this split, is their ability to close it out and move forward.
I think the reason we popped out of that replay is because they got that inhibitor, so
yep.
Second inhibitor down, easy rush onto the Nexus turrets here for TSM.
It's going to be first Nexus down. The calling not even really making them think of backing off. Bjergsen goes in hard. It's going to be the suppression on Cutie Pie from Dyrus. They're trying to get the KDA up as the Nexus goes down. And Bjergsen puts himself in the fountain. He gets lasered down. You're not going to be able to live that long, Burger King. And it looks like the Nexus will follow after 22 minutes, one of our fastest games, if not the fastest here in the spring split of the North American LCS.
Solid performance from TSM right there. Man, they just started that off with a bang, the 1 versus 1 first blood, and then rolled that into complete map control.
Bjergsen said he was a little worried about filling Reginald's shoes. I don't think there's any worry that he really needs to have there. Having such a home court crowd as well, 90% vote from the online crowd.
Always helps to have the fans behind you.
Super strong play. Not a whole lot really facilitated from the junglers. The first invade kind of threw Crumbs off with his flash, and I think that started to play on them, knowing that Crumbs wasn't able to give everybody in the lane what they needed or a dive that they needed to flash out. It all started to escalate from the little things just in that first invade. Bjergsen's a real thing for him, though. Definitely one that can carry the entire game.
He's definitely a real dude. The people here know because they can actually go up and ask him for autographs after. So get some tickets, and you could too.
Yeah, absolutely. As you're voting, be sure to check when you vote on the website. Pick up some tickets. League of Legends North American Championship
We like to meet
Series.
the fans.
Absolutely. We're going to be able to right after this because we'll be switching out and get Chat Freak up here to cast it. But that game was nothing less, as I said in the intro, more than amazing. TSM somehow going back to their early strategy of pushing that top tower. And if you're there, they pretty much sit there and take a Polaroid of you, kill you, and then take your tower. And your jungler doesn't even have time to get there. So it's a vicious strat.
And once they got Bjergsen to the point where he's got his own Deathfire Grass and he can just wait inside Dignitas' jungle multiple times, the Fog of War, jumping in.
The Fog of War is real. Like that,
it's scary.
The ability that they're using right now in this meta with the vision is. How many kills did he get at blue buff in like that exact same spot? Like 3?
It's also, I have to again shout out X Special for his like around 5-minute swap out for a sweeper trinket. One of the earliest that I've seen. So as soon as Bjergsen got his first blood, X Special was like, yes, going for that map control. I'm going to get this early sweeper. It'll be ready far before I hit level 9.
Yep. All right, when we come back, we will see if Evil Geniuses can match wits with Counter Logic Gaming in our next game.